New report out this week claims that there is a genetic reason, we're being serious here, why some men are born to cheat.
Yeah, is cheating in their genes, or is it just one big excuse for them to bed hop, really? Well, you've been emailing your comments all morning. They're flooding in, but we've also got with us behavioural psychologist Donna Dawson. I'd love to know what you think about this to start with. Yeah. Is it in their genes? Can they not just, they can't just help themselves?
Yes,
Donna?
and I'm predisposed to have sex only on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
You know, this lovely study, 2 male Swedish scientists and 50 of their male friends. Before you can make a statement like it's in the genes, these studies have got to be replicated with big numbers all around the world. And you know, you do one small study like this and suddenly it catches the headlines. Well, before they talked about vasopressin, they were talking about testosterone. Men had more of it, you know, and they have more sperm to disperse, so that makes them naturally polygamous. Well, I'm afraid not. I mean, come on, we are not slaves to our hormones or our genes. We actually have free will, and we can make a connection between present and future actions. So a lot of this is really to do with social conditioning, how we're brought up.
We were talking just before we came on air there about social influences and a moral framework around, which may be a big factor as well. What do you think of that?
Well, in my experience, if a guy has a father who runs around and cheats, and I've seen this a lot, even now amongst my husband's friends, he will follow the same pattern. If the father has been faithful, men tend to follow their first male role model. Or if a man has best friends who are cheating, that will indicate to him that it's okay. So we are very prone to what's acceptable around us in terms of our family upbringing and society.
And conditions around you. Diana from Hampshire. Diana says, my husband had cheated on me 4 times over 13 years, all whilst travelling on business. Now here's his excuses. His excuses run from girls being available, to being lonely, to his harsh upbringing at boarding school. Diana says, I'm sure if there was a genetic excuse, he would use that too.
Of course.
I don't believe it, says Diana. It comes down to one thing: selfish, arrogant, bad behaviour.
It comes down to opportunity, and now there are more women who are traveling and working. More women are cheating as well. So it isn't just the men, but women are not doing it in the same numbers, but they're slightly catching up.
But they're not saying, I'm doing it because there's a hormone that I can't control.
Absolutely. No, they're not.
Well, Cherry in Middlesex, she says, I just can't believe this. Men have been using this excuse for years. I'm a very sexual woman. I've got lots of urges, but I can control myself because I choose to take personal responsibility for my actions. So you can say, you know, I've got a high sex drive, I'm away from home, I'm a bit lonely, but, well, use some control then.
I love the fact that men's genitalia is all external, and they always make out, well, it probably does have a mind of its own, right, Eamonn? I mean, it does things on its own behalf.
And then you think,
very
careful,
then you
Donna,
think, well,
says.
okay, I have no control over this thing that's outside my body. Whereas women's sexuality is internal, and they can perhaps think about it a little more. Men are visual, they get stimulated very easily. But yes, it is time to sort of then stop and say, okay, is this going to be worth it? Is this really what I want, or is this just an automatic thing that I don't need to give into?
But why do we get there? Gary Newman, an author and researcher, he has a book, The Truth About Cheating, Donna. And he has interviewed 200 men, including 100 men who had not cheated. And he says more men blame being underappreciated by their wives and an emotional disconnect in the home than a need to find a newer partner.
Absolutely.
He said, women have been made to believe that the emotional part of the relationship is not crucial to men, but I find they're highly emotional, and that only when... What are you laughing at, Langford?
I'm glad to hear that men are emotional.
It's only when they feel disconnected that they begin to stray.
Well, that's so my wife doesn't understand me syndrome, isn't it?
This actually points up something that I've known for a long time, that infidelity isn't about sex. It's about wanting to feel wanted and appreciated. And if you don't get that at home, very few of those men said the sex was bad. They may not have been getting it, but they weren't saying, I want to get better sex, or my mistress is in better shape. They were saying they wanted approval, they wanted feedback, they wanted more communication, which every relationship is about.
Well, Jessica in Hampshire, hi Jessica, she says, I've been married for 3 years. I've caught my husband out 3 times in the last 12 months. He says it's all my fault that he's been unfaithful. Well, this time I'm not going to take him back, and he can carry on cheating and destroying his own life. I don't know why he does it. I think it's more about the thrill of it being wrong.
Some people have an
Jessica.
addictive personality, and that can take the place of sex, gambling, drinks, drugs, shopping, eating, you name it. If a guy happens to have a sex addiction, yes, it's something that needs fixing.
Now, what's you see, sex addiction? We're talking here about it's in their genes, it's a hormone. But then you read all the time, especially these Hollywood stars.
David Duchovny,
suddenly they're in rehab because I'm a sex addict.
Yeah.
Well, does that just not mean he can't control himself either?
It just... No, it means he's got an obsessive tendency that overrides everything else.
So you believe that exists?
Yeah.
That exists.
It's there.
What's the difference between that and a genetic malfunction?
Predisposition. Probably it's the same thing, but not that many of us have got it. There's too many other factors that feed in. How do you separate out what's a genetic predisposition from how you've been brought up, how you view women, what your relationships have been like, what your religious and moral views are? It's a complicated mix, but some people who actually think they're not in control of their behavior might still be, and they're using it as an excuse. Other people just feel too weak-willed, or they get caught up with the infatuation of a relationship and get hooked on those feelings because they do tend to be slightly addictive and they need to go for help. But you can't carry on blaming it.
But then what does a partner do in that case? You know, Jessica's saying she caught her husband 3 times in 12 months. You know, are you supposed to be understanding and say, look, I think you really have a problem here? Or do you say, get the hell out of my life?
Yeah, you see, every individual circumstance is different. Is she going to give him a chance? Does she want to go to counselling with the guy? Do they want to get to the roots of it? If they get to the roots of it, does he want to be really helped? Or does he not? Does he really actually just want to carry on being excused like a young child would be? It really depends on the guy. How truthful are you being? How in control are you? Do you really want help? And what are you going to do about it?
Okay, let's paint a scenario. Say you're a middle-aged man, and the spice has gone out of your relationship or whatever, and a younger woman is interested in you. Now, a lot of men, this is called midlife crisis for
course it is.
a lot of men. So this guy will think, hey, I'm hot. I'm the way I used to be in my 20s here.
He's so deluded himself, isn't he?
Well, you see, you say that. You say that. Can a girl in her 20s, late 20s or so, really fancy a man in his early 50s or something like that?
She's probably looking at his wallet, his power and his prestige.
Does he care?
No, but he's deluding himself. She certainly isn't. Unless she's one of the very few that falls in love with father figures, it doesn't tend to last very long. It tends to be very much an experience. And the guy's holding on for dear life because he wants to feel he's still 21 inside, and she makes him feel that way. But, you know, what's going on in her head? Something slightly different.
But just the whole question of responsibility, it's easy to paint men as the villains in all of this, and I'm not saying that they're not. But isn't there a serious point to say that some women should look at the home situation and about rekindling their relationship or making sure the relationship is healthy?
It's a mutual responsibility. Let's try not to paint, as you say, any one sex as, you know, you're naturally promiscuous,
Yes.
you're naturally monogamous. It's really about working together in that relationship, and talking is where it starts, having a laugh together, finding the time for each other. You know, we spend more time with our co-workers, and you two are lucky in this respect, than we ever do with our partners.
There is a good side of working.
Blessed.
You know, I have to say, though, in praise of men, and Eamonn's right, we mustn't just put all men in this category. Steve in Lancashire, hi Steve, he said, I've been with my partner for 8 years, I've never cheated. I have had plenty of offers, and I can get a bit flirty when I've had a drink, but I would never ever think of even cheating on my partner.
Yeah.
Good for you, Steve.
Nothing wrong with flirting.
Donna raised an interesting point there. Laughter and humour in a relationship.
Well, thank goodness for that,
Sexual
darling, I
glue.
say.
Sexual glue.
There are pages on the internet to why you're interested in me, and laughter would be a big part of it, especially when I take my clothes off.
Same with my husband. Love him to
I
bits.
don't believe it. Can I have my glasses back?
Oh, I
finished
don't know.
with them?
Where are they?
Right.
What about you, darling?
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, Donna, you look very attractive.
Sweetheart.
My jeans are playing me up at this stage. Thank you very much indeed. Lovely seeing you.